Hey guys, this video is going to be a Queen Azshara walkthrough of our heroic kill for jumping into Mythic. I know a lot of you are on this fight right now and progressing through this fight with your guild, so I just wanted to give a quick rundown of how I executed it and how I lined up my cooldowns for the different phases. This one is going to be Affliction focused. I'm just going to play the kill and stop underway to talk about different things and my thought process behind the whole thing. So let's just jump into it. The first thing you want to do is the pre-potion has to happen kind of when the floor lights up. You can see a pretty bright light coming up from the blue parts now. That's when I press my pre-potion, basically. You can see it here on my screen, press my pre-potion. Then we get into the first part. This is very important for Affliction, to be able to line up your opener, especially because I am playing Focusing Iris Major, the big laser beam of doom. You need to press DSM before the fight starts to be able to do your first Dark Clear setup fast enough to get the beam on both the bosses before you have to split them up. Because they do a cast that will increase their damage when they're close, as you have to separate them. So you have to cast, basically when you see the ads spawn, they are not targetable for about 5 seconds. So you press DSM there. I'm gonna play this in slow motion. Go back a few seconds. So the ad spawns, I press DSM. There you go. And then you start your setup. Agony Corruption on the first one. Agony Corruption on the second one. Then I go into Haunt. Unstable. Unstable to trigger my Cascading Calamity buff. I press PS. Berserking. One Unstable on the off target. Dump the rest of my Unstables. Dark Clear, Deathbolt, and Beam. And you can see here, they are just now casting the buff that makes them... Painful Memories is the cast that makes them not be able to be stacked. So if you do not press that DSM early, you will not be able to do the setup fast enough. It also lines your DSM up pretty nicely for the rest of the fight, especially at least on Heroic. So let's speed this up to normal speed. After this, it's not a lot to talk about. It's normal multi-dotting. I let my Agony drop on the Serenus there, which is obviously not intentional. But even gods can make mistakes, right? Obviously, you want to focus the Oversized Hulk when it comes in phase 1. Soak the balls if you're full HP. Just make sure that you're not soaking a double one. Keep the ads refreshed. Now, the second Phantom, what most skills will do here is that they will bring the ads back together once their Painful Memories buff is gone. So I decided to hold my second Phantom Singularity to be able to get them on both here, because the intermission is long enough that you only have one more usage anyway. Depending on your DPS, you will get a second Hulk or not. We did not, because we have enough damage to do it. But it shouldn't pose too much of a problem. You just press the damage buttons on the Hulks before you do intermission. Now, come the intermission, the only thing you worry about is the mechanics of the fight. This is not going to be a guide on how to do the fight, but you see I have the solo soak here, so I solo one orb solo before getting ready for phase 2. And if you notice my cooldowns now, my Dark Lair is not coming up at all. My DSM is almost ready though, because I pop it so early. I'm going to use that DSM instantly when I have it available. That is because I want to line it up for another ad phase coming up later in the fight. So normal Affliction stuff here, just get your dots up, keep those Unstables rolling. DSM on cooldown here, that's important for the upcoming phases. But I hold my beam because I want to use the beam for the ads. I get Bentic, I move out with the portal. This is a very smart portal to place before the fight starts, so that people can get far away when they get the ability that drags them in, the Bentic. A couple of agonies to generate some shards here into a beam. The patter beam. Basic stuff. This is after these ads, your dark layer should be coming up. So you need to make sure that you're saving shards for the next dark layer. It's coming up for me in 18 seconds. You can see it here. So I'm gonna wait for my next haunt, and then I'm gonna start setting up my dark layer. Setting up dark layer with Phantom, Berserking, and Deathbolt. So this dark layer is very important to use on cooldown so that it lines up for later. The way we were doing the fight, it was everything lined up very nicely because I got to use everything on cooldown, and then we lusted on 6 minutes when your 2 and 3 minutes line up again. So the kill time was very, very fortunate for us. It might be a little bit slower depending on your damage, or faster. But I think this general idea of cooldown management works. After this intermission spawns, this is where it gets a bit hectic. I make the mistake here of not dumping all my shards into Azshara, but there is generally a lot of movements and multi-dotting that you have to do here. So before, in that intermission, once you found your spot, I'll pause it here for a second. In that intermission, once you found your spot, you really want to make sure that you are low on shards going into this ad phase, because there are 3 ads that spawn that you really want to get all your dots up on without capping shards. So I made that mistake on this kill, but I didn't on the next kill that we did on normal. Is make sure to use all your shards when you're running around and soaking the orbs before entering this this phase right here. So this is my 3rd iris I use here on that ad, because we are supposed to nuke Lady Venomtongue here. She will cast a shield, I make sure to read out everything, and then when the shield is ended, I cast my Cyclotronic Blast on her and move over. Important that you line of sight the explosion like you should, and try to keep all your dots there. I let my Agony fall off of Queen Azshara. This is something that you want to do in this phase. It's all about just keeping dots up on everything, keep your shards low, just spam everything here. Like when you have 3 target shard regen as Affliction, you just spam. Just keep everything rolling. If you cast a Shadow Bolt and you have a shard available, you're doing something wrong. Most likely. So as you can see now, I don't have number trackers on my cooldown icons here, but I do have them on my bars. So because I know how it lines up for me, but you can see how my DSM and Dark Layer are perfectly lined up, like exactly the same. Obviously, your Dark Layer should be a little bit after DSM, but I'm going to have both of those cooldowns available to me when we are lusting in the last phase. Finishing up Queen Azshara here, bringing her to 40%, cleaning up the last ad. And after that, we should be heading into the last phase where we lust. This is basically just a burn phase. You dodge the things on the ground. If you see a thing on the ground, it is a bad thing. You don't want to sit in it. Like that one. Big circle on the ground, don't sit in that. Right here, I'm just waiting for my Dark Layer to come up. We're already lusted. Press my DSM, I do my Unstable, Dark Layer, PS Dark Layer, Deathbolt, and just spam. Watch out for the laser beams, and this is like just where you use your second potion and just go ham with Bloodlust. Most skills will tend to use Bloodlust in this last phase and just burn her down. Not much happening here. After you line those cooldowns up on the 6-minute mark, there's not really much happening. Just make sure that you use your resources as they come out. Try to time your Unstable, your shard usage with the fight duration. So you can see here I have a time to die weak or approximately 30 seconds until the boss dies. A little bit shorter maybe. But I know that I need to use all my resources, otherwise I'm gonna end up on sitting on shards when the boss dies, and I don't want to do that. So you can see me just sitting on 0 shards now, making sure that I just use everything, so everything is expended when the boss dies. Otherwise, you want to make sure that the only other thing that you really need to watch out for, I'm positive before the boss dies, is that when you have a lot of stacks from soaking, your max HP is reduced. When the people are clicking the console, you really want to make sure that you're either topped or use your defensive, or maybe Healthstone right after the first tick. It is really, really important. You will get surprised if you have 4, 5, 6 stacks. You will be very surprised of how fast you die because your max HP is reduced by so much. So that should be the last thing. Finishing off the boss with a drain here. And that's it. That's my walkthrough / somewhat semi-guide of Azshara Heroic. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. I'll try to get to them, or join me on stream. Have a good one, guys.